And we are live. Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hey,
Hello,
everyone.
Facebook world. We are here at Pandora's Books and Tea to talk about The Circle by Dave Eggers. I don't have a physical copy of the book, but I do have a picture for those of you that can't see.
It's hard to miss in the store, really.
Yeah, it's a good bright cover.
Nice break.
Do you think that's supposed to be the logo of the circle?
I don't know.
Yes.
Is it in the
We
movie
talked
that way?
a couple times ago about how the image of a book affects what you think. So
It's a very Celtic looking.
I find it very stark
Yeah.
and very, I think, modern. Right?
To me, it looks like a building,
Okay.
and it looks like the building in the movie. Because, yes,
Oh.
I've seen the movie. So, The Circle is has recently been made into a movie, which is kind of why we decided to do it at this time. This book is about a young woman named May who is having a hard time in life and ends up getting a job at the best company in what
America?
people say the world
Yeah.
to work. It's called The Circle, and it's very easiest way to say it's Google. I'm just going to say that.
Or Apple.
Google,
Yeah.
Apple, any of those big things. They have all kinds of awesome things at their work environment. She's loving it. But the longer she works there, the more she's finding that their standards for their standards are set very high, and some of the technologies that are being released are questionable, which is what we're here to talk about. So I will start off by saying I loved this book. I really, really, really loved this book. Really loved this book.
Really?
Yeah. And the
Oh.
reason I love this book was not necessarily because it was super well written or
Okay.
I didn't like the ending of this book. But what I did like about this book is that at the end of it, I didn't know what side I was on. And I still don't know what side I was on. And I can see both sides of the argument with all the different arguments that have come up and will come up, which makes it fun to discuss. And I really like discussing books. And so that's why I really like this book, because it gives you a plethora of things to talk about. And so, yeah. I'm guessing by the... You did not like this book.
I like your comment. I really do. I like that you said that at the end of the book, it does, you didn't know what side you're on. I agree with that. I also think that it can give you things to think about in contrast to our world today, or in similarity to our worlds today. But no, I didn't like the book. I guess my reasons are why you're saying it's okay to not like it. I didn't think the writing was that strong. And I didn't love the plot. I felt like it was a little overblown, and I felt like it was fake. I didn't feel the realness, and that's what I wanted to feel. I could really embrace a book of this style or this kind of genre of like the world changing if I could believe it, and I didn't believe in The Circle.
What didn't you believe about it?
Just the overwhelmingness of it. I didn't believe in the overwhelmingness of it. And I didn't believe in... A lot of the book is it's all based at the Circle's, what would you call that? Like campus. So
Yeah.
it's where they work, but they've turned it into a whole campus. They have dorms for people to stay in if they work too late and have to drive
As
home.
does Google.
They have social events. They
As
have
does Google.
a gym. They have...
As does Google.
Yeah, do they?
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have napping rooms.
Mm-hmm.
They have slides.
Yeah.
I really like Google. I probably am not going to like Google in about half an hour.
No, it's very much, if you go online and you look at what Google has for their employees, it's so much like The Circle. That's why it's just like, wow. So I didn't think it was overblown at all. Did you like
No,
it?
I thought it was extremely believable, actually.
Yeah.
I really liked the book. I didn't like the ending because I was like, holy crap, this is pretty nervy. I'm a happy ending girl. You guys all know me now.
What do you mean? It seemed to end quite happily for May. She was fine.
Yeah. So, like you, I was very much like, holy, like, are we going this way? I could see so many things in there that are happening now. I see happening all the time, every day, with people constantly glued, and you guys are watching me being glued to this computer constantly.
We're looking for your comments. Please, like,
Yes.
ask us questions.
We do have a question about whether any of us have seen the movie, so we'll get to that one.
I'm going to see it
Yeah.
on Saturday.
So, and I work with teens quite a bit at school and stuff.
And technology, hey? So
and
you have these
technology.
two things crossing over.
And the fact that, yeah, they are constantly needing to be connected. And if they're not connected, it's like a tragedy.
Anxiety.
And a serious tragedy. Like, this is a serious mental issue for them.
Huh.
To be constantly connected. And
So
if
you could see
threaten
this
to take
very
your phone
easily
away, that's
happening
their
with the
baby.
next generation.
Why is
Yeah.
it such a bad thing to have? Okay, so
Yeah.
that brings me to my first question. So I have trouble because everyone seems so negative about all the technology and the connectedness of these people. And do I think it was like, oh my God, overblown at sometimes? Absolutely. So I can see that side of it. But even though a lot of the technology seemed very futuristic, I think a lot of them were very close to what is in the works or could happen. I could see them happening. So do you think that the fact that fiction and fact are overlapping, do you guys find that like a little unnerving and unsettling? Like, did it make you more paranoid about being online and being glued to your device?
It didn't make me paranoid. It made me think about some of the attachments that we have, for sure. But there were a lot of ideas in there that were really cool, that I think could really do some great things, like having cameras, hidden cameras, capturing people doing bad things. I mean, why? And I could see it, crime rates going down because you don't know if you're going to get caught on camera, right? But
Or it's easier to
Again,
catch people. Like
yeah.
in the it didn't work out so good for our poor Mercer, but being able to find someone in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I think, was the record.
Yeah.
There was the fugitive that had run from the law, and they used the whole network. Okay, everyone, we're live. You know, basically talking like you and me. We're going to start the clock. And in 10 minutes, they had found this fugitive, and she was arrested, and everything was safely done, and she was back in jail. Then they said, okay, well, let's find a friend. That person freaked out, and basically bad things happened because this person was not as connected to technology. So, I don't know.
the scary part for me was that part where May is online doing her job and helping people and connecting with people because of that social connection
That
thing.
scared me.
And the
If you're
fact
talking
that
about what I think you're...
the dad was like, well, can you help out my daughter? And how come you haven't answered her? And that kind of stuff. And that goes on every single day already. And that's what's freaky.
Those ones
to
made
me,
me
because
anxious.
that is the
Those
case right now.
exchanges.
Yeah.
The bigger ones felt like fiction. The smaller ones, yes.
Like
So
that kind of
May, it works in customer service, and so she interacts with these customers, seeing how the circle is doing, and then they go respond to her. But it's really emphasized that you keep going, like, because she gets rated on this. And so then they kind of ask her to, like, do favors and then push and push and push her into these kind of uncomfortable, like, can you get my daughter a job? You're my friend now. Like, let's visit. And that was...
Why haven't you responded?
Yeah.
Did I do something wrong?
Yeah, the not
I'm
responding
busy.
on technology, we could... I'm not...
Well, talk about it. Yes.
I am really well known, and rightly so, for not responding on technology. And it has created massive rifts between...
I hate it when people don't respond to me.
No, like, it's created, like, relationship severing moments that I've managed to recover from, thankfully, but a few in my life because I don't respond on technology. It's really hard, actually. I am not a person who has embraced it in a, like, beside me every way, and then something is read into my emotional state or, like, my emotional connection to this person
face there.
because I didn't. Every time I read online, why are you writing in caps? You're yelling at me. I think it's because they're lazy. Like, I put my caps lock on when I don't want to, like, what are you talking about? That's not yelling. I think that's so weird that has become so commonplace that if you write in caps lock, it means you're yelling. It's just such a weird rule.
But don't you think that ultimately, is this a reflection of our society now and what we already do, or do you think it's more something that could happen and is to come if we're not careful?
I have to say I'm really intrigued by your comment of working with teens and saying that it's a mental health issue. I think that's a really interesting way of framing how technology could impact them in the future. We just went through like a challenge with my young child who's in elementary school from his teacher to have no screen time for a week. And it went well, but the fact that I really struggled with the idea of making this a challenge and making it a competition and that they couldn't have any screen time because we are a screen household. We use it for things that they enjoy and things that I actually think are good for their brains and their well-being. So,
and your kids do other things.
Yeah, so I really struggled with this idea of, and I think a lot of parents do. What is the right amount? What can they be using? Where are the rules around social media? Yeah, it's a really, I do think it was reflective of society today. Yeah, I really do. And I think,
well, and then the
there's
other
a lot of
question
things out
is
there.
too, because I know a lot of parents are wanting to limit their kids' screen time and saying, no, you're only allowed this much and we don't want you connected. But yet the world is going in such a way that we are. So are you a detriment to your children if you're not allowing them to participate fully in society in this way that is acceptable and expected?
I think as a parent of young children, I do think that you need to try and expose your children to technology at this point with the way that it's becoming all embracing.
And they have to know it and understand it.
Yeah, I do think most kids do though. My son has a Google account with his elementary class. He has and that's where they do work. They make their presentations on Google, like PowerPoint or whatever that's called.
Google Slides.
Google Slides. So they make their presentations through all of the, well, now, great. I am going to be really freaked out about Google in about 25 minutes now.
All right, I think we have some comments.
Yes. So JP, while the premise was somewhat enjoyable and I have great respect for what Eggers has done for the creative community, I would say that the writing felt really awkward and unnecessarily drawn out. Any thoughts on whether this would have worked as well / better as a short story? And Danielle Tremblay says they said that about the movie too.
Oh, I would have liked this as a short story. And I say that because recently I watched a show on Netflix, and I'm going to struggle with the name of it, unfortunately. And I only watched one episode, but it's a show where it's all about different technology things.
Yeah, I watched that too.
And the first episode is similar to this. Exactly. It's about social media, and you have to get like this certain rating, really and you're only allowed into certain places, and if you get this rating, and you're constantly posting things to get your rating up and down. And it was what
happens to you if you lose like just 1 point, and how everything in society is
It was a half an hour show, and it was really intense, and my heart was beating and
the
pounding.
End of it, I was like, wow.
What show is this?
It's I can't remember what it's called now.
I know.
There's a series of like 5 or 6
Netflix,
short stories.
And every episode, they're not connected. Okay. It's not a series, but it's all about different technology, and I've only seen the one. Because actually it was so overwhelming to me that I was like, I don't know if I can watch this again. Like I felt like it did a much better job than The Circle of portraying this idea.
Although I kind of felt, so I guess for me, I liked the length of the book, even though some of the writing I would agree with was maybe a little drawn out. I liked the introduction of the different technologies. I didn't think we needed the whole tie relationship and that whole, I just wanted to know about the technologies and how they were affecting society. So, democracy and transparency and the health app and the cameras, all of those things were very fascinating socially to me, and I wanted to know kind of what society would do with those things if we did have them. And in some way, for all of them, I think they would be awesome. For example, so I was going to ask you guys, what was your favorite proposed technology in the book?
Go ahead.
I'm just jumping in here. Can I suggest the health one, because that one I think would really be awesome. The idea of prevention instead of constantly, let's put a Band-Aid on that. No, let's get to the actual what's causing this. before it gets bad. And I thought that was really good. That
I thought it
monitoring
was
people.
probably the least invasive.
Mhm.
Wasn't my favorite though. What was your favorite?
I didn't like any of them. I
No?
don't think I'm a technology person in the end. This book did. I just, yeah, I did. No,
You
there's
didn't
not.
think any of them would be a benefit to society?
No, I did not think any of them would in the end be beneficial. But maybe that's because I was reading them within the book. Like, the book is this, like, it's like, I mean, I don't know that they meant this as a metaphor, but, like, it's like this ball rolling down a hill. Like, you just see it gathering and gathering and gathering power, but at the same time, it's also just gathering this, I mean, balls rolling down the hill, they're going to crash into something at some point. And so that's the way I felt about all of these technologies, actually. That they just, yeah. So there wasn't a single one that I could say, actually, yeah, that would be great. Across the board, like for hundreds of years, this would be beneficial. All of them, I just felt like, oh my gosh, like, no, this is going to go bad as soon as something happens here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like democracy. I thought the idea of having to vote, having to be civically engaged,
So
and
what was
not being
democracy
able
for our viewers?
So democracy was basically there was a vote that happened. They started out with like a survey as an example at the circle, and everything turned off. You couldn't use your computer, you couldn't use your social media, you couldn't use anything online until you voted. It was just vote, the question's up, and then they got the answer immediately. So you knew. So if there was an election, all of a sudden at such and such a time, the question pops up, everyone has to vote in the next 10 minutes or whatever. It's not going to go away until everybody votes. And so you click yes, no, or you say who you want, and then you know right away what the answers are. I like that. I thought that was great.
Okay.
Nobody else liked it.
I think, like, yes, I do think that there's good things about that, but my brain automatically goes to, well, that's not really democracy anymore, because then you're forcing people to vote. You're taking away their right to vote. You're making them vote. And some people are not politically motivated or politically involved. What if there are religions that don't vote? So if you're
have
no
a
longer...
section that says don't care or abstain,
Okay.
But they have to have some.
but you
sort of
have to.
opinion.
You have to log in.
You have to. So if you.
So you have to respond
I
to this vote.
disagree with, like, I don't like either of them or whatever. But at least then you've said, this is. I hate it when people don't vote because they don't want to.
I don't like voting because I know I'm always disappointed every election to see the percentage of votes, but at the same time, as soon as like that comes up, I think, well, if you're removing the freedom to vote, then that no longer seems. That seems like then it's going to keep going down a road that's taking more freedoms from that away. Yeah.
We have a couple other comments here. Seema says the show is called Black Mirror.
Right.
Thank you,
Mirror.
Seema.
Thank you,
Yes,
Seema.
thank you.
I recommend watching it if you if the circle intrigues you, both the movie or the book. Definitely, I think give it a go. It was definitely interesting.
So viewers, what did you guys think? What was your favorite technology, if any, or did you think that it was we shouldn't have any of these and we should just all go off grid? Because that's what Mercer did. He's like, screw this. I'm going
outta
off grid. I don't want any of this. So I'm just curious what you think.
And the Tremblays, technology is the way of life. Try taking iPads, iPods away from your teenager, 14-year-old. Yikes.
Yeah.
Totally. It is their baby. And we've actually heard a talk from a therapist saying it is their baby. It would be like taking a baby away from a mother for some of these kids.
So is that
pretty serious.
Is that healthy or is that bad?
That's not healthy. That's not healthy. So, yeah.
Did we have something like that in our childhood that we could compare it to?
Yes.
Hogs? I don't know.
No, but we had things that we felt strongly about. Is that a measure
Our
of...
friends.
Is this a measure of what technology is doing, or that kids like to have something that is of their own, and we're giving them this? And it's kind of a powerful thing to give them. They get to interact. They get to play games. They get to read in their own. They get to choose a lot more. And yes, I had things that I mean, obviously, babies have been around forever. So, and girls, there's a lot of kids that, yeah, I do think that is I struggle with this. I had a conversation once. My husband listens to very out there music that is not really liked by anyone. It's like screaming, swearing, I hate the world, and I think usually the bands have kill or shoot in their names. Like, it's not that extreme, but honestly, like, he listens to punk music, and that's quite out of anybody's realm of comfort. And so we had this conversation with a bunch of adults, and one adult was quite well versed, and they said, you know what, like, first, when waltzing came out, waltzing was seen as disgusting and something that you could not do in society. And then you think about rock and roll, and then you think about as things go on, and now I feel as a parent, like, technology is this one thing that people are like, oh, you let your kids have screen time? Like, it's just... So I kind of feel like it's that way. Like, these kids are then going to grow into this next generation that is just embrace something new.
Well, that and something that's super powerful.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have the luxury, I think, of having something that is connected. I think that
I did. I had a Walkman, and I love my Walkman.
But I think that parents are scared that their kids are going to feel like the only way they can connect to their friends is through online, and they won't know how to make an actual relationship. I disagree with that.
What is an actual relationship?
But I totally disagree with that. But I don't have kids, so I don't know. But I think that an online relationship, a lot of relationships these days start online. Online dating is one of the...
I have
met
friends
your husband online, right?
Yeah.
I met my
I have
husband
friends
online.
around the world that I've never met face to face.
Well,
but
and actually, I
consider
was
them
just
really good
saying to
friends.
someone yesterday about our children, and saying, like, if any of us moved, I think our kids are really lucky in this generation, because if you move away, you can still keep in contact. You're gonna create lifelong friends at this point because of social media and email and texting, or however you use. I moved a lot as a kid, and you move, and unless you were a letter writer, you were out of luck, right? That was long distance was not happening, and so now we get to create these worldwide connections with people.
I think there's just so much fear as well. I know any time I talk to anybody about the circle and some of the technologies, it was all the responses I got was, yeah, but that could be used for so many bad things, like the cameras.
I do, yeah.
Absolutely.
I go there
There's
too.
going to be people that are
There's
like
some comments
going to
along
use
those lines,
exactly. So the cameras.
Not knowing where those cameras would be is paranoia to me. What about private conversations? Like,
Yeah.
I have a question in regards to that. That's where my question was, in regards to, like, private and cameras. So one of the main ideas that the circle actually starts with. So May is the first circle member to go transparent. But before May does, a government senator, right? Or representative, she goes transparent. And then it becomes this big goal for all government representatives to be transparent, meaning they wear a camera on a necklace. It's constantly on, I think, except for like a bedtime and bathrooms. They're given 3 minutes in the bathroom. This is me not saying something. Anyways.
Go ahead.
So then, what did you feel about government and transparency? Did you think that that's... Loved it, hey?
Yeah, I did.
You too? Down there? Are you nodding yes, or are you nodding to my question?
I'm nodding yes.
So you would want somebody to know every aspect of your job?
I think that, well, okay, so like I said, with everything in this book, I think that they took it to the extreme, but I think that there is definitely some aspects of transparency that would be good. I think if you watch House of Cards, the one gentleman that's running against, what's his name, for president, he decides that he's going to put all of his stuff online with his family and all that kind of stuff. But there's still conversations that will happen. Like, even May finds a way to talk to Annie in the bathroom, and it's private. She finds a way to talk to Ty.
But the idea
private.
behind that was that was bad, what she was doing.
Yeah.
And she has to admit to it, and people are mad at her for talking to Annie in the bathroom. Like, that was against the rules, May. You broke the transparency rules.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying government is amazing. And yeah, I'm guessing that there are things that should be. I don't think that a lot of things need to be transparent completely in the way that this suggested. You have to...
But people would be a lot more honest if they were.
no, they would just,
Yeah, they would.
They would find other
you
ways.
kidding?
Be sneakier.
As soon
Things
as
wouldn't get
as soon
done.
as you say to someone, would you want everyone to know every aspect of your job? They're like, oh God, no, because then they'd know that I was on, you know, was playing a Facebook game for such and such. Like,
Right?
you know? I do not play Facebook games at work. But, you know.
She says to the library board.
I know, right? I promise. But that's what you do. But is that not a good thing then? Because then you're like, oh, well, do you not want to go transparent because you're trying to get away with something?
But how would that affect the world? If somebody found out that, so out of 10 people, 5 of them play Facebook games for 4 out of 8 hours of their day.
Oh
Are they
my
going to
God.
get rid of those jobs? Or something else? Check their Facebook, play
somebody
Facebook
that
games,
wants the job
wander.
and will actually do it will get that job.
I know, but how many jobs do they take time for that? So then all of a sudden you've lost 4 positions. So how does that affect the world?
You've hired 4 people that are willing to work that don't have jobs.
But you also then can look and you can say, if they've been doing this all along, we obviously don't need that many hours in that position. So now we're losing that many jobs.
That's a
That's
good
another
point
way
too.
to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always talked about gossip amongst friends, and I've kind of said, my saying kind of is that people need to get things off their chest.
Mhm.
I think sometimes people annoy you or they do things, and as long as you are not spreading lies or trying to create animosity about somebody, if you're just saying like, like this sucked, like I'm kind of annoyed, I think people should be able to do that, and I don't know that you can exist properly without disclosing those feelings.
I do think we definitely need some semblance of privacy in our lives, which is why the cameras are like, again, that extreme. That being said, though, like a lot of the arguments was, what about like the perverts that are going to, you know, watch the schoolyards or put it in the girls' bathroom? I strongly believe, and this is me being idealistic and probably a little naive, I think that there's 10% of society that is like that. So do we make our decisions based on 10% of the people in the world or 90% of the people in the world?
So overall, though, if you had to say, well, like, because now we've had a couple of responses like, well, they shouldn't go that far. But if you had to choose, like,
Where's
I want to
the
go all the way to the circle, I'm going to embrace the circle, or no, like, because you've said you loved it.
Mhm.
Would you fully embrace without changing these things? If they want to go that far, would you go?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I already do it kind of because everything I do is on Google. I have location services on. I can see exactly where I am every single day.
I have no problem.
So you would be fully transparent if that's
if
what
you're-
they wanted, and you would, yeah.
Yeah, I would.
I would not.
Jason is like over there. He's like, no.
Well, I'm so glad someone is with me. But-
There's lots of comments. Do you want to hear some of the comments here?
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome.
so let me see where it was.
Wow, there's lots. Sorry,
The circle
we've been
was a lot of stuff.
yammering and not listening to you. We'll go a little longer. So
I'm not
speaking.
sure that it's the. Oh, this is from JP. I'm not sure that it's technology itself that is concerning so much as the invasion of privacy. Are people really that willing to have their every thought and movement known?
Well,
That's
and
what
this
we're
is what
just
happens in the circle. May is very she's transparent, and she visits her family, and she catches her parents in a compromising situation, and her parents break off all communication with her because they have gotten to the point where they're increasingly uncomfortable with her, and it gets broadcast in fellatio, right? Like it's and so she loses her parents because of being transparent. So I don't know, like, I think it demonstrates how relationship destroying this could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That and I know there was that vote, and May was, how many people like May? That was one
That
of
was
them.
an awesome one.
And this is a good example
This
of
was
that.
so real,
She
though.
got 2 responses that
Just
were
2
negative
out of
like
how many?
100, let's just say. So like
That's a lot.
98% of people said, yes, May is awesome. May is the best. 2 people didn't. She obsessed about those 2 people. So yeah, if everyone was transparent, then you'd know everybody's thoughts, and you'd know who hated you, and you'd be like,
And
why
she
do
did.
those people hate me? Right?
And that's the kind of stuff that goes on already.
It already goes on Facebook, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, I
Facebook,
didn't
Twitter.
get 200 likes on my.
Why didn't Maya
Instagram
text me
photo,
back?
delete.
Maya, are you ignoring me, Maya?
Seema
Yeah,
has a really
I
good
get
point
this
here.
every
This is
week.
the thought that came
Okay.
into my head too
Seema?
about the voting thing. What's stopping people from making uneducated votes just so they get their tech privileges back?
That's what I think of SEMA right away, is they don't even look what button they're pushing. They're just like, I need my social media back.
How many people make uneducated votes in an election anyway, just because they saw something on Facebook?
But you want them to vote. You're on the side of you wanting them to vote. So
What
you
I'm
don't
saying
care
is
whether
it's
or not
not
they're
going to be any
uneducated.
different.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a much higher percentage.
Or you will.
So if you
the
think
other
that,
side of that, which my idealistic side tends to think, is that now you're required to. More
better
people will
figure
say,
it out.
"I better figure out how I'm going to vote because it's going to pop up." Because all of you guys are like that.
you're so
Because we want to do
Okay,
the right
actually,
thing.
here's
We wanna
my
do the
thought
right
that I
thing. We
want
don't
to
wanna
say
get in
about the
trouble.
circle. Here's actually what has come to my brain as we've talked, because this is how I work. The reason why I don't like the circle, because you asked me at the beginning, I think is because of where like my background and kind of my interests lie, which is history. I have a history degree, and I have learned through history and seen, like through studying it, a rise and fall of many different civilizations and societies, or whatever word you want to use. So the reason I didn't like the circle is because it felt, I don't care. Because the circle, I know this is what's going to happen. This is where this book is going. Is it's going up, and then it's telling you this is so massive and huge. I don't, that it's just going to go down and it's going to fall. Like, it doesn't really matter what we do. It's going to fall. So it's...
Or it doesn't matter what we do, it's going to happen.
Yeah. It's going to
And-
happen.
Because that's where we're going.
I'm
So
pretty,
should we be ready for it?
I'm pretty fatalistic about humans and our ownership of the world, which we don't have any over. And I think I've said this before on the show. I think the way we have claimed this planet is kind of disgusting, actually. And this circle really shows evidence of that. But it also shows evidence of our stupidity and how we are not learning and how we're continuing to create these civilizations, whether or not you can or can't, that are doomed to fail. Because I think that's what the circle is. I don't think that
Maybe that's what happened to
that couldn't survive.
Atlantis or the Mayans.
Transparency.
They developed a circle and then they crashed, is what you're saying.
I know this is a real downer, right? I basically just think humans suck. And
I
I
think
wonder
humans are
where I
awesome.
get that from.
I think, and I'm exactly opposite. I'm
Right?
just like, I think 90% of humans are awesome, and only 10%.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, no, 90%. And I know I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. We were having drinks, and he said the same thing. It was like, no, all humans suck.
Happy
We are
anniversary,
all
hon. You have
terrible.
totally convinced me to your way of thinking. I think humans suck. Wow. And just said it on live TV.
You have it for prosperity.
Really? Like, seriously, like, apparently that's just where my brain goes right away, is that's all that I was reading. I was like, this is pointless. Like, this is just a up, and then you're going to go down. You're not trying to, so that story didn't matter to me. That's why I think I didn't like it.
So again, I
That was
think
clear.
the beauty of this book is that even after all of our discussions, and we should probably wrap it up soon. We'll go back to a few more questions, but even after all our discussions, I still don't think we have a clear, like, yes, this is a good thing that's happening, or this is a bad thing that's happening. It's
Yes.
just, who knows? I don't know.
And so I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. One of my fun questions for, like, because there's a difference to me now between did you like this book and would you recommend this book? So going with your idea of, like, I didn't feel like there was a one answer. I didn't have a side at the end. I really like that comment. I think the circle could be valuable for that reason. I don't think that it is well written enough that it is the book that I would recommend to stir that emotion in you and to test these ideas of technology taking over the world. I think there have been better books in the past few years that have thought about that question and that I liked better.
Fair enough.
So I wouldn't,
Do we have any more questions, or?
Yep, I will read you some more stuff. JP
Very
placing,
passionate, JP.
placing the responsibility of government in the hands of a private corporation. That's
that
kinda
was scary. That was scary.
Isn't government already in the hands of private organizations?
That's a really long conversation. That one.
JP, we need to go out and have it.
Do you know what is a really long conversation? Is that kids in grade 1 or 2 I've heard talking about that they don't like Trump on the playground. Why are they saying that? Do they have any idea why they're saying that? Are they hearing adults parrot this?
Yeah.
And then they are now thinking that.
Yep.
Sorry, this was just my weird comment.
That's
for the
how
day.
people choose their political
Scary.
party, right? Their
Yeah.
parents.
What the parents saying.
That's another conversation.
Yeah.
Any questions we need to answer?
No, just comments about.
Well, we'll make sure that we respond to a lot of those comments. And thank you guys for tuning in and
What's next?
joining.
What's next month?
So, and thanks for tuning in and sharing. I'm going to pull a name for sharing from the last month. It is going to be... Oh, look, all those comments from JP. You won a Pandora's gift card, right?
$10, yeah, at
Woohoo!
Pandora's Books and Tea. So
It's
thank
already
you to
sent.
Pandora's for
Hosting us.
that.
Yeah.
And thank you to Olds Community TV for helping us with equipment and getting things set up and helping record. This is also on channel 148 on ONET. If you didn't get a chance to see it here.
Or tell your friends about it, and they can watch it on YouTube after as well.
Yeah.
Next month, June 8th, Thursday, June 8th, it is called The Little Book of
Hurrah.
Hurrah, 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 hurrah. And we're going to say that lots, just like that.
Which is kind of the opposite of the book we just read.
Yeah. It is by Meek. Wow.
It's a Danish name.
Viking. Yeah. So here's the cover. We chose this. This hurrah is
Hurrah.
it is the art of creating intimacy to coziness of the soul to taking pleasure from the presence of soothing things. So it's this Danish way of living, really, really popular non-fiction theme. There have been numerous books published in the past 6 months to a year on this. There's parenting books, there's house books, there's personal self-help books. This is one that's been on bestseller lists. We wanted to kind of embrace something that's really popular so that we could get some good conversation going. And also try a nonfiction. And yeah, so this is what we're going to take a look at. If
Looking
you
forward to your
look at a
ideas.
different Hygge book or blog or anything like that, come on and chat with us about this idea. I mean, this is kind of the new, this idea is replacing the Marie Kondo one. So, you know, what do we think of these ways of living and how we should do things, much like the circle. So join us Thursday, June 8th. For us to cough phlegm for 30 minutes.
7 o'clock on Facebook Live. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
No, you just turn the camera around. Big fat fingers. The top one.